So you just got your first tenant.
Yay!
But you might be wondering, how do I actually take in the rental payments? Don't worry, you're not the only person that wonders this. This is a question that we get in the Better Than Success Real Estate League within our group chat. Our members, they cross that threshold, they buy their property, and they're like, how do I take the payment in? And so instead of answering this question over and over and over again in this video, I'm going to tell you how to take your rental payments in. But before we get started, I did something really, really cool for you. I made a checklist, all the things we're going to discuss here with links and resources and all that stuff, a checklist for accepting rental payments. All you got to do is go down in the description and download it. So please don't forget, download this checklist. All right, let's hop right into it. The first thing you need to know about taking in rent is you want to set up an online portal. Sign up for one of the many online portals. There are a lot of them. The two that I am most familiar with is Epfolio and Buildium. Okay, this is a property management software where they have an option for you to kind of get a merchant account. It takes a few days, like 3 days. You sign up for kind of like a merchant account so that your tenants can now have their online portal. They can log in and they can make payments, and it's deposited right into your bank account. Okay. If you have multiple LLCs, you can manage all of the LLCs with all of the properties, and each LLC has to then apply for this merchant account. Again, it only takes 3 days. I don't know what they call it. I think they might call it a merchant account. Not sure. But it just basically, hey, do you want to apply to be able to take in payments? And then it'll go, the rent payment, when the tenant logs in, it'll go to the applicable account. Okay, so this is the main way that I take in rent payments. This is preferable. So when you go to onboard your tenant, what you're going to do is say, hey, you're going to give them their welcome packet, all the things, walk through, and then, hey, here is your link to set up an account to log in, or the account will kind of be set up. You will give them their link to log in, and then they can manage everything. They can pay their rent, they can make maintenance requests, they can communicate with you directly through those portals. Again, a number of ways that you can do this, but Epfolio and Buildium are the two ways that I am most familiar with. Okay, the next thing you can do, we have one of our members that actually does this. She sets it up through her bank where she does an automatic ACH withdrawal directly from their account. So it's not a question. That money better be in there on the first, we're going to try to withdraw the money. I do believe that she gives her tenants a discount for setting it up. I think she might even make it mandatory. I'm not sure. I don't think you can legally make it mandatory in that way, but that's something that she does. That's not what I do, but it's totally, totally fine. Okay. The next thing that you can do is you can accept cash or check in person. Now, this is really why I wanted to make this video. Okay. I am actually going to pick up rent today from my tenant. I am not happy about it, okay? I am not happy about it, but you occasionally get tenants that insist on paying cash or check, and it's going to require some in-person hand-to-hand combat, okay? I am in Philly right now. You guys know I live in California, but I manage all my properties are here, and I come back and forth. So I've been here for a couple months now, and so my tenant wants to do this today, and I am really not happy about it. But here are some tips in terms of doing this. If you're going to do this, you want to make sure that you have a clause in your lease. All my leases have this, that say, if I have to pick up rent from you, it is $75. You want to know why? Because I'm not Uber. Okay? You have to pay for my gas, mileage, and my time, right? So it's only, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes away from where I am right now. So it's not a big deal, but $75, because I can't, especially if you have a lot of properties, like what if all my tenants did this? I can't be driving around doing this. This is ridiculous. So it's an additional $75, right? The other thing you want to do if you're going to be picking up your rent payment from your tenant is you may want to do something that I have not been able to successfully do, but I know people that do it and they do it really well. You might want to represent yourself as a pseudonym when you go to pick up your rent. So my tenants, my old property manager had let it slip that when they'll talk about me, Even though the tenant knows that it's an LLC that owns the property, when they talk about me, they'll refer to me as Nicole this, Nicole that, Nicole this, Nicole that. So they know that there is this woman named Nicole that owns the properties, okay? What I should do, and I'll tell you why I can't do this, is represent myself as a pseudonym when I go to pick up the rent. Because, so like, let's say I'll go and say, oh, I'm Keisha and I work for the property management company. The reason you want to do this is because, one, a lot of you might not want your tenant to know exactly what you look like. Two, you might want to play good cop, bad cop. Like, let's say one day the tenant actually wants something. They want to pay their rent late. They want to do this. They want to do that. Tenants will play on the heartstrings of the landlord. You can play good cop, bad cop if you're representing yourself as a pseudonym, under a pseudonym, and say, oh, I'm going to go back to Nicole. I'm going to ask her. She might not do it. No, and darn well you're not going to do whatever it is that they want to do. Oh, she might not do it, but I'm still your friend. So you can still have more of a enforceable leverage, right? So you know that saying where it says, would you rather be feared or loved, right? You want their landlord to be feared and you as the pseudonym to be loved. Right. And some people respond to each of those emotions differently, right? In terms of you getting them to do what you want them to do. So representing yourself as a pseudonym is really important. Also, safety. You don't want to be walking around, especially if you're in a C and D class neighborhood. You might not want to be walking around. I'm the landlord, walking around in this C and D class neighborhood. I'm a landlord, This just might not be a thing that you want to do in terms of safety. Okay, I have not been able to do this successfully because I am not good at misrepresenting myself. So what I have done every single solitary time, every time I've been doing this for a long time, well, not a long time, but like 6 years, 7 years, something like that. Every time, this is what I do. I'll be like, I'll call a tenant and I'm the landlord. Hey, I'm going to send someone over there. Okay. And when I get over there, I'll be like, yeah, because when we talked earlier, or this is the other thing that I'll do. I'll say, I'm going to send someone over there and then I'm going to call you 10 minutes out. 10 minutes out, I call from the same phone number and be like, I'm on my way. Hang up the phone line. So I could never do this. It's the worst ever. And so I'm learning. I'm figuring it out. But for those of you who are really good at doing this, I know some people that do it really, really well. They got a whole nother phone number and everything. Okay. So they know when they answer that phone, I'm Keisha. Hi, Keisha here. Such and such property management. And then they never forget, right? Me, okay. Terrible at it. The other thing that you want to do is you want to go dressed completely down. All right. Completely down. So y'all see, I normally try to get cute on these videos. I am dressed down. I got on sweats. I have zero makeup on and a baseball cap, and I got some chucks on with some workout pants. Now, this is intentional because I'm going to tell y'all a story. A couple years ago, I bought a property and I bought the property with the tenant already in it. And I bought it. I hadn't seen it in person. I saw pictures. I hadn't seen it in person. Shortly after that, I had a trip scheduled to Philadelphia. And so I was like, well, I'm going to go and do a tour of all my properties. And this one day I went and looked at like 8 of my properties. Some of them were bandos or some of them were active rehab jobs. And so another one was this property with a tenant and it was an active rehab job. So I always wear tight fitting clothing. I had on a tight fitting like workout jacket with some workout pants, tight fitting workout pants. And because I was making content that day, I actually have some content on this channel from that day. I had on my these designer work boots. Okay, they were very on trend at the time. And I mean, they didn't really look designer. If you know, that kind of vibe. So get to this property. The tenant hadn't even paid her first month rent yet. So that's how close it was to the purchase date of this property. So I just wanted to lay eyes on it and see what was going on and meet the tenant or whatever. So I go to the property and the tenant immediately looks down at my boots and is like, Oh, I like them. Where you get them from? My girl, were they expensive? My girlfriend got those boots. I'm like, no, I didn't think she would know. I'm like, no, I just got these boots from, one of these online stores. They knock off, you just pay a couple dollars for them. And I think she just was looking at me like, yes, sis. I know those is $1,200 boots. She was like, she asked me, was they expensive? I said, no. She was like, no, my girlfriend got them. She said she paid a lot of money for them. I was like, nah, I just really didn't. I just bought them from one of these little cheap websites. But let me tell you something. Do y'all know I never got a rent payment from her? Not one. Not one. So you thought I was rich. So you just never know what type of implicit biases people have about race, gender, age, complexion, whether you got a weave or not, makeup, eyelashes, any of these things. You just don't even know. And so I just try to go as dressed down as possible. Okay. I'm just bumming it out, picking up my rent. I'm just, can't say nothing about $40 checks, okay? You can't say nothing about $40 checks. Oh, and also, I almost completely forgot to tell you, there is one other option to take in cash for your rental payments without actually going to pick it up for the tenant. There is an option called PayNearMe. This is a service that's usually offered through Buildium or Epfolio, where you have to do another application. It just takes a few days so that you can get set up where your tenants can actually take their rental payment, the cash, to a CVS, a Walgreens, I think they do it at Walmart, a 7-Eleven, and pay the cashier, and it goes directly into your account. I know, kind of like Western Union, but for rental payments or whatever else they do. I only seen it for rental payments and mortgages. So you can set this up within your online portal that you use to manage all your properties. There is a fee every time your tenant does this, but your tenant pays the fee and not you. So this is great, okay? So I've only done it a couple times with my tenants. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's super easy. But for whatever reason, this particular tenant, they're actually a good tenant. So that's why I was just, I'm around the corner. So I'm just like, whatever, I go pick it up for this property that we're talking about in this video. But for the most part, anybody else, you just want to avoid this whole cash conversation. Pay online, or if you want to pay the extra fee and do PayNearMe, go ahead. By all means, it's 2024 and you don't want to do things in an electronic way. I don't know what to tell you. The last thing I want to say is, if you are going to pick up rent payments, always pick it up during the daytime. Don't pick it up at night. I don't care. You don't know what could be going on. You don't know. You just don't. Don't go pick it up at night, especially if you're a woman. Don't go pick it up by yourself. I got somebody that I'm about to scoop. Come pick it up with me. You just don't know. Especially if it's cash. If this is something that you're going to be doing, you want to make this transaction as quick as possible. So don't go inside. Pick up your rent and go out. If you want to look at the property, inspect the property for whatever reason, don't do it at the same time. You want to make sure that there's not a lot of cash on hand, knowingly on hand, at the time while you're lingering around. You just never, ever, ever, ever know. Somebody could have mentioned, hey, my landlord, let me call you back. I'm about to go pick up the rent payment so my landlord could come and pick it up. And you never know what that person on the other end of that phone call might be plotting. So you want to get in, get out. Hey, if you want to do an inspection, I'll be back next week. I'll be back tomorrow when there ain't no knowledge of big wads of cash hanging around. Okay? Last but not least, I cannot stress enough, you want to push your tenants to online payments. Period, point blank. This is not your job to be ripping and running around. I am just cleaning up some badly managed systems within my organization. And I already told the tenant that this was the very last time that we were doing this. And it's just not going down. Okay? All right. Landlords, I love you all so much. I have a checklist for you down below. Make sure you download the checklist. This is your rental payment checklist. It's got all the information in here, plus some other goodies that you can download and use when you are ready to take in your rental payments, or if you're already taking in rental payments, to streamline and make the process a lot better. So download the checklist right now. All right, landlords, I'll see you all later, and I love you all.